And that's the bigger problem. The problem's not just rogue police officers who need to be rooted out. We know there are bad apples, and there will be no peace when there are racist police. But the bigger problem, there will be no peace when there are still racist police. But the bigger problem is that even what could be described as good officers are using excessive force and are killing unarmed black people. Now hear me out on this. I know Chief Jordan personally, and I could be wrong. But I've come to believe that he may be among the best police chiefs in the country. But that's the bigger problem. This is not an issue of individual bad apples. That would be a much easier problem. This is a systemic problem that is so bad that even good people who go into policing for the right reasons can end up killing black and brown brothers and sisters and fathers and husbands at an unbelievable rate. If we keep focusing on bad apples, we will miss the poisonous racism that is infused into our culture. Yes. The poisonous racism that's infused into our minds, and therefore into our police and their minds and their culture. I want to say something especially to my white brothers and sisters, and thank you all for showing up. You look beautiful, by the way. Everybody together looks beautiful. A friend of mine was upset this week because he said white people that he works with were not getting very mad about what was happening, and he was wondering why. He asked if white people just don't get angry. I told him white people know how to get angry. I put Black Lives Matter on the sign in front of my church. When I put Black Lives Matter on the sign in front of my church, some white people got real angry. When Colin Kaepernick started standing up for racism by sitting down for the national anthem, we saw white people get plenty angry. It's not that white people can't get angry. It's that we need to make sure that we're getting angry about the right thing. What happened in Tulsa, in Baton Rouge, in Minnesota, Ferguson, Florida, Baltimore, and North Carolina yesterday, and all over this country is nothing new. We just have video this time to prove it. If there was no video, the story that we initially heard was that Terrence was not cooperating. He was told to have his hands up, and he was reaching into his car window. The video shows his hands were up, and so was the car window. That's the other problem. When these things happen, we got to try to stop making the victims into bad apples. But it's not a problem of bad apples. It's a nasty poison called racism that infects even us good people, quote unquote. And until we fix it, our boys and our husbands and our fathers, and let's be real, it's our black and brown women as well. Unarmed 37-year-old Natasha McKenna in Virginia. Unarmed Yvette Smith, mother of two, shot on her front police in Texas. Unarmed 22-year-old Rakia Boyd in Chicago. Unarmed 29-year-old Sharisi Francis in Queens, New York. Unarmed Kendra James, 21 years old, in Portland, Oregon. I could keep reading, but they only gave me 5 minutes. This isn't just about black men. And I'm asking my fellow white pastors, who mostly serve predominantly white communities.
Come on now.
It's time for all of us to call our white members into doing the work of unlearning racism. Until white people are enraged about these real injustices, until white hearts tremble not in fear of black and brown bodies, but with fear for black and brown bodies, until white minds can comprehend living in a world where the color of your skin greatly increases your odds of getting killed, even by the people you paid to protect you. Until we white people help each other to unlearn patterns of prejudice that cause violence against black and brown people, then we'll keep meeting in services just like this one, mourning the deaths that should never have happened. The most deadly weapon in this war against black people is silence. Silence in the face of violence allows evil to prosper. We cannot afford to keep talking about this as an issue of bad apples. When the system is this polluted, even good apples get poisoned.
Yeah.
The police, by and large, are no different than the rest of us. They're people trying to do the right thing, and yet they carry guns, and on the street, they can become judge, the jury, and the verdict.
And the execution.
Police cannot continue to be paid conduits of oppression. The police have to rise to a higher standard.
That's right.
And to do that, the police need to submit themselves to more than sensitivity training and cultural competence seminars. They need to submit themselves to doing serious anti-racism education and to unlearn prejudice. It doesn't happen in a weekend, it doesn't happen in a class. This is a long-term effort, and our police who carry guns and can be the jury and the judge and the verdict all at once on the street need to rise above and do the hardest work and have to be the most well-trained in this kind of work. We need to change the current system, because in the current system even good cops are killing black people. As James Cone said, love is the motive, but justice is the instrument.
That's right.
Let's show our love by working for justice. Since 1921, Tulsa's black community has been the stone that the builder refused. But you know what the Bible says about the stone that the builder refused? it becomes the cornerstone. Let's see if together we can become the cornerstone for racial justice in America. Let's bring some good out of this tragedy.
Amen.
What if we went from being known as the city with the worst race riot massacre in the United States to being one of the cities that finally changed the system?
That's right.
Let's do that. When Jesus died at the hands of the authorities, he snatched victory from that defeat. When unarmed Jesus died at the hands of the authorities, he brought hope out of despair and brought new life out of death. If you're a Christian,
come on now.
And you can see that Terrence Crutcher died on the cross last Friday.
Amen.
Just like every black man, woman, and child who has ever been killed by those in authority. And if you're a Christian, then you know that suffering never has the last word.
Whoa. That is good. That is good.
And that death is never the end for it.
Good enough.
Unfortunately, you and I don't have the power to resurrect Terrence Crutcher. But we can make sure that we don't go back to business as usual. The killing of all these black and brown bodies has uncovered an uncomfortable truth about our nation. It reminds us that no matter how far we've come, we've still got a long way to go. Let's go together.
Yeah.